What's up guys, Day Zero Gaming here today. So I will be showing you how to do your build in the new update. So it's a little bit different. I'm obviously not level 40 yet, so I can't explain anything like that. So just this will be more like a generalization video, like without actually having the gear and making the build, kind of explaining the build. Because the stats will actually be a little bit higher when you're level 40 than the ones I'm rolling. So keep that in mind. But basically, every weapon, I mean, not every weapon. Yeah. We'll start with the weapons. So every weapon now has core attributes and then attributes. So this will be assault rifle damage, health damage, headshot damage, stuff like that. Marksman rifle damage, just headshot damage, rate of fire. It just depends on the weapon. If it's marksman rifle, stuff like that. Um, what you'll get for it. It looks like marksman rifles do get the headshot damage buff a lot higher than the other classes. Like this one, it's halfway max, so I'm guessing the max for this one would be 12% headshot damage. While on a marksman rifle, it's 60% headshot damage is 3/4, so it's probably like 90 or 100% weapon damage is the highest. So this used to be a thing already. Uh, as 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 far as it goes to marksman rifle damage and stuff. So it used to be each weapon had a different role, and it was just worked into the weapon, so you couldn't actually see what the assault rifle damage bonus role was on a weapon. It's just, hey, this eagle bearer has, well, eagle bears were all the same, but hey, this assault rifle has 18.1k damage, while this one has 18.2. The 18.2 has a higher roll. Now it actually shows you the roll on the weapon, and it might be more beneficial for you to have headshot damage than assault rifle damage. It just depends, you know. Like if you have 100% uh, weapon damage and only 0% headshot damage, that's less balanced than 20% headshot damage and 80% weapon damage. So you know, it's just it all just depends. So basically, the higher the stats are, the more you want to even them out. So as you can see here, like I have 0% armor damage, 8% health damage, reload, critical hit damage. Okay, so my critical hit chance is 31.9%, while my critical hit damage is 62%. It would be better for me to try to even them out a little bit. That way I'm hitting more critical hits. That way I can do more critical hit damage. Because if I have 62% damage, but I'm only hitting 31% of the time, instead of it being 45% and 45%, you see what the difference is there. So you kind of want to make sure it's evened out a little bit on the critical hit chance and damage and stuff like that. So every build will pretty much have critical hit chance and damage now. It used to not be a thing, but pretty much every good build will. I think it'll be stuck with it anyways on like the holsters and stuff. So basically, like on your weapons, you want to make sure the core attributes are the way you want them stacked. So 8% health damage, 6% headshot damage, and 6% assault rifle damage would not be the best roll, right? The best roll would be like 9% assault rifle damage, 6% health damage, and like 10% headshot damage. Like you want the assault rifle damage and the headshot damage to be a little bit higher because obviously like health, you're only doing that extra damage after their armor's off, right? So you'd want to make sure like the assault rifle damage and headshot damage are higher. Obviously the headshot damage only counts if you're hitting them in the head. So if you never get headshots, you don't want to spec into headshot damage. So you'd rather have 8% health damage, 9% assault rifle damage, and 2% headshot damage, right? So you want to get that perfect roll that suits you. So I hit a lot of headshots. So I want my headshot damage to be evened out with my assault rifle damage. That way I'm, you know, getting it to multiply. Because it is not additive, it's multiplicative, which is obviously something you want to watch out for as well. What's additive, what's multiplicative, that sort of thing. So this is pretty much a max roll on my mask, but it is level 30, so Obviously, it'll be underpowered compared to the level 40 gear, where 15% would probably be the max. Uh, so on this mask, the 9.9% weapon damage roll is obviously really good. And then we have 2 headshot damage rolls as the attributes. I really like that because that means there's a lot more build diversity there. Now that damage to elites is gone, you can kind of stack other stuff onto it. So again, just make sure you have stuff you need on there, because obviously, like, this one has some pretty good attributes, but it's not a brand set I really need. Like Douglas and Harding, it gives you pistol damage. I'm not using a pistol, so obviously, like aces and eights, it comes with an offensive mod slot. So now the offensive mod slots are headshot damage and stuff like that, critical hit damage. Um, so it might be more beneficial for you to grab the aces and eights gear set and roll that offensive mod slot than it would be to roll the headshot damage off of the Douglas and Harding. Just because on here, if you're using a marksman rifle, now you're getting 15% marksman rifle damage plus 20% headshot damage, and you're getting your card flips, right? So, and then obviously Araldi Holdings would be another alternative for the mask. If you don't want to roll aces and eights on your mask, you could use this because it gives you headshot damage, damage to armor, and marksman rifle damage. If you get a 3 set of Araldi Holdings. So that's if you don't want to roll the aces and eights. The chest pieces are the same way, so I don't use a rifle, so the Overlord makes no sense for me to have because my LMG, I don't really need weapon handling or accuracy, but and I guess my assault rifle doesn't either, really, but that's not the type of player I am, right? I don't need accuracy, I don't need weapon handling, but someone who does, this might be useful. Unbreakable, so when your armor is depleted, repair 95% of your armor. There is no requirements now, so you can just roll that on your gear and use it. So that's good to know as well. Glass cannon. All damage you deal is amplified by 25%. All damage you take is amplified by 50%. So these are 2 completely different types of attributes. I mean, not attributes, talents. And obviously you'd want to use whichever one's your playstyle. So if you don't get shot that often, you'd run glass cannon because, hey, I can do 25% more damage for playing the same way I already do, right? As this one, it is just when your armor is depleted, repair 95% of your armor, right? So you don't get that extra 25% damage. Which 25% damage if you're using any weapon just is crazy. Like, the enemy dies 1/4 faster. So the next thing would be to see if it's multiplicative or additive. Usually it's kind of hard to figure that out, but I'm sure it'll be done soon. So if it's multiplicative, that 25% multiplies on top of your weapon damage. So say you have 100% weapon damage and it multiplies with the 25%, that's ridiculous. You know, if it just adds on to your weapon damage, then whatever. I mean, no, I said that wrong. So if it adds on to your weapon damage and multiplies with your headshot damage and stuff like that, my bad. Like if that 25% gets the bonus, like 100% headshot damage, stacks on top of that 25%, now when you're hitting them in the head, you're doing an extra 50% damage. That's the meaning of multiplicative, my bad. It wouldn't be like 100% weapon damage times 25. That's my bad. So yeah, you just kind of want to watch out for those types of things, because like obviously I wouldn't want to use this piece of gear, right? Because it gives you 1 skill tier, it gives you health, critical hit chance, but it's a glass cannon, right? You're running it for that damage, so you'd want to roll that glass cannon onto your Overlord piece because it has headshot damage, weapon damage. It has your 3 stack of Overlord. So you'd want to roll your glass cannon onto your Overlord piece. That way, now you're doing the 25% damage plus your like 12% damage from your headshot damage, and then plus your 10% weapon damage. Plus, if you're using rifle, your extra 10% rifle damage, which would not help me at all. But basically, look for what helps you out the most, right? If you're running blue gear, which I never roll, but if you're looking for like armor regeneration and stuff like that, there's some pretty good stuff for you as well. So your holster, this is what you'd want to most likely run. Would be something like this, where it's a 3 stack of reds. I mean, that's unless you need the health, need armor, need skills, whatever. But with this, you can run pretty high. You can run critical hit damage, critical hit chance, and weapon damage, and you'd get the bonus from the Providence. So obviously, like I have a 2 stack, so I'm getting the critical hit chance and the headshot damage. So I'd want to get that 3rd stack somewhere on my gear, so I can get the extra 15% critical hit damage as well. Which I do not know what piece that would be. I think I have a 4 stack. Yeah, I have a 4 stack of Overlord. So one of the Overlord pieces I'd have to switch over to be the Providence defense. So I'd have to figure out what Providence drops on, because usually it's just 3 different pieces of gear, 4 pieces of gear, not all 6. But they might have changed that. I'm not too sure. Knee pads are the same way. So if you need health, roll health on them. But if not, just get as much stacked on there that you need as possible, right? So the gloves, obviously, same way. If you need health and stuff like that, if you need to hazard protection, if you need your aces and 8s, go for it. But if you don't need that, get some of this critical hit chance, get some of this critical hit damage, get some of this weapon damage. The backpack, so see, this is a useless backpack to me. This is like the worst backpack possible. Because it has tech support, so skill kills increase total skill damage by 25. I'm not running a skill build, right? The only good thing on here is the 8.5% weapon damage, so I can just roll that onto another piece of gear with all reds or something like that. Clutch would be okay to run, but honestly, you'd probably want Wicked or something like that if you're running a damage-based build. So yeah, so you can. So I don't see anything with just all. Oh, there's all reds. I think I saw one. Yeah, there it is. So Providence defense. See, this is way better of a piece of gear for me, right? And it's that brand set I want, and it's with 3 reds, a red mod slot, and clutch. See? So this would be like what you'd want to be moving towards, is stuff that benefits your gear, so you have no dead weight on it. Like that yellow attribute I had, I don't use yellows, right? So I don't want to use the yellow if I'm not running a yellow build. And then, as I said, you might want headshot damage, but if you don't need headshot damage, grab some of that critical hit damage, or like I need critical hit chance, so I'm gonna look for chance. Like here's 4.2% critical hit chance. Like, you see what I mean? Just looking through my gear, I found what I needed. It doesn't take it's not that bad, right? So now I have a lot of reds on my build, but that's the way I play, right? So that Eagle Bear is doing 18k, but it's not really doing 18k because it would be the headshot damage and all that calculated in. The only thing I would want to get rid of now would be the knee pads, the blue on the knee pads. As I said, because I'm all reds, but health doesn't hurt. See, like, if it would have been like skill hastes, like, I want to get rid of that for health or for weapon damage or for critical hit chance or whatever you can do, basically. So that's the type of things you want to look for, is talents that benefit you, right? And I think the talents only drop on the backpack and the chest piece now, something like that. So unbreakable I don't want. I'd want glass cannon. So I'd take a glass cannon and put it on this piece of gear, since it has such a high weapon damage roll. The perfect one of this would be if instead of health, it was like critical hit chance. But I don't see that happening with that high of a weapon damage roll and that high of 2 headshot damage rolls. So basically I'd want to take glass cannon and put it on the Overlord piece of gear. So that's pretty much just me explaining what I'm doing here. So clutch, I'd want to take clutch off and grab wicked. I'd throw wicked on this Providence piece because I don't need the armor, right? I mean, this doesn't give you damage. It gives you armor and health back, which I'm not going to get shot. So I'm trying to get more damage, which, what's it called? Wicked would give you. Applying a status effect increases total weapon damage by 18% for 20 seconds. So if I put a status effect on that enemy, say throw a concussion grenade, blind them, whatever I do, I am now getting a 20-second buff, even if that status effect comes off of them. Which, if you're using the Nemesis, I think you put a status effect on them when you aim at them for a certain amount of time. I don't know. I don't want to sound stupid. So that's the type of build you'd want to look for, is stuff like that. Obviously, the rolls will be a little bit higher once you're level 40. My rolls are the level 30 tiered gear, so obviously you'll have a lot better gear than I do here. Even though it looks good, it says it's the highest drop, but that's the highest drop for the level 30 gear, not for the level 40. So hope this video helped you guys. If you have any questions or if you have any help for players, go ahead and drop it in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.